All right, we're live.
Did he give you a YouTube? Did he give you a link?
Video embed. Hold on. Yeah, I'll G-chat to you right now.
Okay.
It's all yours.
Sweet. Thank God.
What's up, guys?
I upload too many. I upload too many clips of actual basketball games to run a Hangout. Apparently.
Come on, Mike. Copyright infringement. You know that. You know the NBA is okay with doing it as long as you acknowledge it.
Yeah. Well, I have like these stupid ones that are like really annoying. That are like. They are like, oh, you can still upload on YouTube, but all right, I should probably stop talking about this now that we're live. So
No one's watching yet.
I think we are live. Let's see, let me make sure it's actually working. Hold on. Yeah, it looks like there's a video playing. So
Yeah, Mike, you just turned into a picture of your face.
Okay. All right, so give me 1 second, then we can get this thing going. Just want to tease this out real quick. All right. I'm on like my girlfriend's computer because mine is in bad shape, so that's why. All right.
Light it off. Send it to SB Nation overlords and make them pay for it.
Yeah, I think I will. Not a bad idea. Okay. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah. We broadcasting? Yeah. We're good?
We're live.
All right.
We've been live.
We're live. Hey guys, welcome to the Bullets Forever Hangout. Wow, it's been a long time since we've done. Been a long time since we've done one of these. We're really sorry that it's taken so long to do one of these. We're just all very busy people with working in our mother's basements. It's very hard to get out and kind of get internet going. So thanks for taking the time. We figured it's a Monday with no games, so let's talk some Wizards. With me, as always, we've got Mr. How You, Amin Vafa.
What's up?
We've got Satchel Price.
Yo.
And we've got Thomas Pruitt. Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas.
Hi.
The dream team.
All right, off to a great start. This is the So Wizards Hangout. Before we get going, we drinking any alcohol tonight?
I have a little Bell's Hop Slam. I managed to get my hands on some of that. Yeah. I'm only having like one or two. Don't worry. Pacing myself.
Okay, that's good. It's very easy to chug those and get really out of hand.
Yes.
I totally understand. It's happened to all of us. Anyone else? You guys all dry? Everybody else?
I went to Safeway and got some Dos Equis because it was cheap and delicious.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, not excellent. Excellent. Dos Equis, man. You could do better.
Okay.
I like Dos Equis.
I'm not a fan. It actually tasted like water when I tried it. And like I know that everybody says that about beers, and it's all like kind of a little hyperbolic, but no, that actually tasted like water.
I just really don't like hoppy beer. That's like the whole thing now. Everyone's like, oh, beer's so hoppy and delicious. And I'm like, it kind of tastes terrible.
Yeah, you would hate what I'm drinking.
Yes. I think I would.
All right. Thomas, you got anything, or are you going dry?
No, I'm dry, unfortunately. I forgot to bring something into the room, and now I feel like it'd be awkward if I just got up and left for like a minute or two. So.
Can you like carry your laptop into the kitchen?
If you want to, go ahead.
No, it's all good. It depends on how this goes. Depending on what the topic of conversation becomes, where I have to get up and start drinking, but at least for now, I'm okay.
I have some extra Natty Light from being in college, so.
I have Natty Light.
That's the thing.
Speaking of stuff that tastes like water.
I think that Dos Equis tastes more like water than Natty Light.
That's probably fair.
Like what? Okay,
but
what
if it tastes like water when it's cold?
Well, that's good. At least it's cold.
Yeah, when Natty is not cold, it tastes. When Natty's cold, it tastes like water. When Natty's not cold, it tastes like death.
Like just bad.
Yeah.
That's bad news.
Like punishment.
So what is, okay, you're the college kid, before we get started, what is your, like, favorite
Yes.
cheap beer, and what is your least favorite cheap beer?
Ooh. Well, I guess I'm kind of. I mean, I'm sitting drinking Hop Slam, so I'm obviously a little snobby. But I have some I have some Natty Light right here. I don't know. My favorite cheap beer,
Mm-hmm.
probably Natty. It's like the cheapest one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. They're all bad.
They all taste the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's all just sad.
I'm a Miller Lite person. If I have to have a cheap beer.
I prefer Coors Light, the Silver Bullet.
Yeah.
One of my roommates in college just insisted on buying Miller High Life all the time when we needed cheap beer, and we never understood why because it was just extra carbonated and disgusting. But he's the only one who really had a preference, so we did it. We always wind up
That's
with.
that's the one that's the champagne of beers,
That
right?
is the champagne of
The
beers.
champagne of beers. Very fancy.
The best part about it is during a hunting season, they have the cans come in camo
Ooh.
in
Oh
Virginia.
my god.
Yeah.
Just in
That
case
is
you're
cool.
out.
I just want to.
What
I
else are
just
you
want
gonna
to
say?
see what. I just want to know what Miller Low Life would taste like. That's highlight.
Probably not that different, sadly.
Well, you have to be high to enjoy Miller High Life, so it makes sense.
No. You can enjoy it without vibing. This is a family show, Mike.
All right. Well, my first terrible pun fell by the wayside.
Not broadcast in Washington or Colorado.
Yeah, I've got Victory Prima Pills here.
Classic.
I'm back in DC, staying with my parents. Very awesome. But anyway, let's start talking about the Wizards because that's what people really want to hear, as much as they really care about our beer preferences. Fun weekend for the Wizards. Fun weekend.
Yes.
It's pretty cool. You know, that fun weekend. I mean, everybody's like complaining about the dunk contest format, but like, it's still pretty cool that like our guy won. You know, and I don't know how much like a dunk contest victory means in like a team player's Q rating, but you know, that was a pretty nice dunk, and that was probably the best dunk of the night. I would have liked to see him to go one more because I think that John could have found something even better. But still, a fun weekend and a fun night. And John was pretty good in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought John was pretty impressive. I wasn't able to watch a lot of I don't have TNT, so I have to like stream stuff a lot of the time, and so it doesn't look as good. It's not, seeing big dunks, streaming doesn't look as great. But I thought it was cool because he never seemed like it was all about just him kind of affirming his next step, and it didn't ever come off like when JaVale was there and it was kind of like a sideshow to something else. This was very much about the Wizards, like, as a team. This wasn't like, oh, look at someone from the Wizards, like, let's just, this was like, this is the beginning of something. That's, like, kind of what it felt like a little more, or at least in terms of people caring about them.
Yeah, no,
it seemed like there was, like, basically, it seemed like there was no case you could make that he didn't belong there. Like, there are so many Wizards, like Gilbert, for example, made All-Star games. I think he was in the three-point shootout, too, and all that. But it's like, you could make a case, okay, he doesn't play defense, or he's not a leader, or whatever. There's really nothing bad you can say about Wall like that. Like, he's like an All-Star and, like, one of those ones who, it's like you have two types of All-Stars, basically. Like, you have, like, the people who make it once every now and then, your Karam Butlers, your, I don't know, guys who just are maybe good scorers and are on a good team and they kind of give it to him. Sort of like Joe Johnson's done like 8 times or whatever. Wall, though, he's like legitimately like awesome. And that's what's kind of cool about it. Like, he's a real all-star. It's like, I don't know. That's what I like about it.
He's not Paul Millsap, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
The cool part was for me was I don't know if you guys caught that that Grantland Bill Simmons interview with John Wall. He was doing one with everybody, but the one he did with Wall, where Wall kind of talked about the like how the All-Star weekend and like the Olympic stuff is not so much as it's not just like everyone gets recognized for their good play so much as it's a chance for these guys to like meet and greet each other and like I don't know if you want to talk about like tampering or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But these guys, it's like kind of like being in an elite club of this kind of upper echelon of communication with these different the different stars of the league, and just like being involved in those conversations, being involved in that smaller circle, I think is good for Wall, like in a way that he can kind of. This is a new level of peers for him. That's not just like, you know, like in the past couple of years in the Wizards, just like kind of like knuckleheads in the locker room. Those are his peers, and now his peers are the best players from all the teams around the league.
You know, what's striking,
yeah.
The striking thing is there are 2 people in that at the All-Star game that are under contract for 5 more years after this. I think they're 2 people. One is Paul George for the Pacers, and the other is John Wall. And when someone is under contract for 5 years, you know, we're not really talking about them going anywhere else for a while. So, to your point, if people are talking, if players are talking, you know, who knows? You know, all these guys are like kind of, some of them are more mainstays on their team than others, but there's nobody who's more of a Wizards mainstay to their own team that's there, other than Paul George, than John Wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. And obviously, when you talk about when you're kind of around players and the conversations are happening and whatever backroom stuff, however serious it gets, you know, that's cool. Would have liked to see them playing a little more though in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
15 minutes, got a little snubbed.
Yeah, they just. I mean, there's like a million dudes to play. They just want to like throw them out together in whatever combination they want. I mean, you're not gonna. 15 minutes is good. I think it was fine. I mean, it would be awesome for us to see him play more, but like, whatever. It's the All-Star.
Kyrie was good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he was good. Like, I have no problems with him winning MVP. I know a lot of our fellow community members are maybe a little upset that Kyrie got the chance to kind of do what he got to do, you know, but not me.
Yeah, this Wizards-Cavs rivalry that exists is just really fun, for me at least, because it keeps both of my fan bases relevant and all the crap I read. So it's good that that exists, even if it's arbitrary. It's fun.
I want them to be both really good. I want them to both be thriving. I don't want one to rise while the other one falls. Like I don't like that. I want them both good at the top of their games, and then they really kind of duel off. Like I've always thought that what Kyrie's gone through this year has been a little unfair. And whether he's better or worse than John, I don't really care. I just want them both to kind of be thriving, and then they meet in the playoffs, and then the Wizards win. That's what I want.
I mean, Kyrie's had a tough year, but he was also voted to the All-Star game. So I just try and imagine, like, I can't even imagine what people will think of him if he's playing great for a good team, because you can tell how much people love watching Kyrie. People go crazy for Kyrie. He's got so many moves and stuff.
Yes. It would be awesome for Cavs fans if that great team was the Cavs, too. So
yes, it would.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. A lot of time left. But, you know, certainly. The other thing to think about, though, is that Kyrie probably won his All-Star bid it started as a bit of a reputation kind of voting. You know, where I feel like the All-Star voting is always 1 year behind, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, next year Wade is not going to start, probably. And next year, you know, maybe John starts and maybe he's not as good. But everybody's always 1 year behind. You look at Steph Curry starting this year. Everybody's kind of 1 year behind on him. And I think maybe Kyrie might pay for what happened to him this year, you know, and then maybe in the future he'll start again. And maybe next year John won't have as good a year, but because of the year he's had this year, he'll start. You know, it seems like everyone's kind of 1 year behind on how they pick their starters.
There's no reason Wall can't start next to Irving next year, too.
That's true. That's true. They could both start. I mean, they both play together, you know. So, I mean, I guess they could totally start together. Who knows? But anyway,
no one else on the team is going to get to touch the ball.
Except for Melo.
I would hate to be like this. Yeah, you always LeBron too. I'm sure will get his, but whoever the center on that team is going to be is never going to touch the ball. They'll be lucky if they get any shots. It's going to be off of putbacks.
Okay, so Roy Hibbert then, starting All-Star. So no, but seriously, next year's starting 5 in the Eastern Conference for the All-Star game. Who do you think it's going to be?
Kyrie,
Rose. D-Rose is going to be there.
I don't know. I don't know.
People will vote him in.
No,
it's like what I'm saying. I think like he'll come back, even if he's not great. If he comes back and averages 22, 23 points a game, which he is capable of doing, I'd probably guess D-Rose gets one of those spots. But that's I'm from Chicago, so
I would agree based on the rankings this year and all the votes he was getting, even though
he was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't.
I would say Kyrie, Rose, LeBron,
George.
Paul George.
Mello.
Paul George.
Fine. That is me. Satchel, I think I saw one of your roommates a second ago through your glass door.
I don't think so. There's like a flag in the window behind me that blows a lot.
Well, then I saw
that's like a porch.
Someone,
yeah, maybe there's someone in like my backyard right now.
Someone's haunting you. The ghosts of Bulls Forever Hangout pass.
It's JaVale.
Well, that would be
He's
good.
dunking 3 balls in the background.
It's Pam McGee.
Oh, that would be a nightmare.
Oh my! Can we do a hangout with Pam McGee someday? Like, what do we have to do to make this happen?
I'm still mad about the Bosch Bradley Beal hangout this weekend. So for everybody who's watching this, we were working with Google Plus and Priority Sports to try to do like a community hangout with Bradley Beal, and it was going to be really cool. And we might do in the future, so that's awesome, and that would be great. But there was some complications. I think Priority wanted to run it their way this time, and we'll maybe get a chance in the future. But yeah, that would have been really cool, especially after it would have been on Sunday right after the 3-point contest. So unfortunately, that might be something we can look forward to in the future. But unfortunately, we couldn't make it happen this time. But I think he'd be the most fun Wizard to kind of join a hangout.
He's great to talk to in like post-game huddle stuff. He's like really friendly. He's like affable. He doesn't get really annoyed by dumb, redundant questions and stuff. Everyone else is kind of like, people don't get annoyed, but like he feels kind of like fresh whenever people ask him questions. Everyone else is like kind of a little bit more robotic, which you kind of have to be after a while when people are asking you the same million questions over and over again. But Beal seems like friendly. I like him. He's a nice guy. He's nice. I hope he sticks around for a while.
Yeah, nice guy. Nice guy. I mean, Martell Webster would be a lot of fun, obviously.
Yes.
He would be great. Brad would be great. Hopefully we can make that happen sometime later in the year. But all right, I guess it's enough All-Star talk. I mean, there's almost not much to say. I mean, Wall was great. Brad was great. Hopefully it works out. There's a lot to say about the trade deadline coming up in 3 days, and I might not sleep. So if I write and I have typos, I'm sorry. But a lot of Wizards rumors flying around. A lot of very big names like Luke Ridnour and Steve and Ben O'Udre being tossed around.
Roddy Bobois.
Roddy Bobois. The rumor got shut down today. We forgot to update the site. Apparently it was his agent kind of spouting off without really knowing what's going on. But Roddy was in DC today, so.
Yeah. Actually, I talked to Seraphin last year one time, like just kind of sat with him for like a few minutes one day after a game, and he was talking to me he told me how like Roddy Bobois, like of all the guys in the league, is like his best friend in the league, and so he really likes when he gets to go to Dallas or when the Mavs would come to DC, they would like chill a lot, and it's All-Star break, neither of them were doing anything. It's not that crazy that they're hanging out. They're really good friends. But I really enjoyed the Comcast article where it was just their only connection was that they were both French. It's like Kevin Seraphin, who is French like Bobois.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bobois' agent is the same agent that Nicholas Batum had. You guys remember that Jason Quick thing where he talked about how he hated Batum's agent and how he kind of made that whole process really miserable for him? Did you see that interview?
I think I remember that vaguely. I know that his agent is the Injai guy, right?
Yeah. So he was like, apparently, like Batum was like said he gave Quick like an exclusive interview, and he was giving it, and then he abruptly stopped because Batum's crazy agent called and said to call it off and all that stuff. It's the same guy, so it's totally possible that he could have jumped the gun on that whole thing. But yeah, trade rumors. Clearly, a backup point guard is what is being discussed. Do we think that the Wizards need to make a trade for a backup point guard?
I don't think they need to make a trade. I think they can sign somebody. Like, Bobois would be fine. I don't know what happened to him, too, by the way. I think he just hurt his wrist and, like, didn't have minutes, fell out of the rotation, all that. So maybe you guys can put me in and everybody else. But he seemed like a perfect guy to, like, just take a flyer on. I mean, he was crushing it when he was with Dallas. And, I mean, there are guys in the D League, too, who can just come up and, like, play for 10 minutes or so. I hate the idea of giving up, like, Porter or even somebody like Seraphin just to get a guy like Luke Ridnour or Bino Udrih, who another team just paid nothing for. And who, I mean, they might make the Wizards win 1 or 2 more games, but are they going to be really that much of an improvement over what Temple is doing? I mean, don't get me wrong, Temple's not exactly like lighting the world on fire or anything, but neither is Udrih, neither is Ridnour, neither is, I don't know, Mike James or whoever else they're looking at.
Yeah, needs a pretty strong word. Just because when you look at what's out there and you know what the Wizards have to offer, and just the reality of what everybody's trying to do and stuff, it's hard to see. Because it's not like Temple's bad, as you said. Temple, he's not a great backup point guard, but this is kind of where you paint yourself in a corner when you use your biannual exception on the first day of free agency on a guy who turns out to be, what amounts to a bust. And now they're 15, they'd have to like cut Maynor essentially to sign somebody because they'd have to cut somebody. And so when you talk about just saying like, oh, we'll just sign a free agent, that's similarly like a move that still requires a few moving pieces. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that I think like, oh, we need to get this guy in here, and this is like the guy that's gonna, even a win. I'm not sure if there's a guy out there that's a win better than Temple, because Temple gets Randy's rotations and he gets on defense and stuff, and that has value. Clearly, they're trying to get you can tell that stability on defense is a priority for them, and Temple contributes to that.
Yeah, I think the only reason they would want to add, it seems like the only reason they want to add a backup point guard is not so much the ball handling duties. I think is just adding a little bit of offense from a guard off the bench. Like Temple's been shooting jumpers recently, but he's not known for his offense at all. He's a really good defender. He can competently handle the ball. He and Beal kind of take turns when they're on the floor together when John Wall's resting. So basically, you turn the 8-man rotation into a 9-man rotation, I guess, by adding a scoring guard when you need a scoring guard. But I can't see anyone available, even of all the names that were mentioned, that will be useful enough to generate offense off the bench.
Oh no. We lost Satchel.
Literally,
the ghost is taking him away.
The ghost
just disappeared.
Everything okay over there?
Sorry, my computer's gonna die.
Bill McGee's third dunk was making Satchel disappear.
Ooh, there's a third ball back.
I was trying to be sneaky. It did not work.
All right, but so someone like Andre Miller, he would not excite any of you guys?
I like Andre Miller, but what the hell are we supposed to do with him? Like, he's not gonna Randy Whitman. I'm hesitant about at this point in the season how Whitman's going to be able to adjust his rotation to accommodate a new body that's going to give that many minutes off the bench. Like, right now, the only pieces that are that interchangeable for him are, like, Booker, Seraphin, and Vesely. Like, they're the ones who are kind of doing the same thing. They're all brought in for different situations and to supplement each other, but they're really the only ones that are doing anything interchangeable. I don't know how he's going to be able to properly stagger Andre Miller with John Wall, Bradley Beal, and Garrett Temple. I don't think it would be bad to have someone who could do it, but I don't know what we'd give up that would make it worth it.
Well, Miller's got, I guess, I have to double check the numbers, but he's got like something like $5 million this year, and then he's got about the same next year, but only $2 million guaranteed. So, like, one of the things that's making this problematic is that the Wizards are $1 million under the luxury tax, and they're still paying Andre Blatch his amnesty salary. And while it counts towards that money under the cap, they've got like $7 million in dead money going to Kendall Marshall, Shannon Brown, and who was the other guy they acquired in that trade?
Malcolm Lee.
Malcolm Lee. Yeah, they're paying their salaries, although it counts towards. They're not like over the luxury tax with that, but
Right.
they're paying their salaries. That's $7.5 million of money that you can't trade out. So what I think they're trying to do is like get something for nothing. Which cool, okay. I mean, something for nothing is cool, but the Andre Miller thing is interesting because has a history of being kind of struggling with coaches if he doesn't get his minutes. He really went out on Brian Shaw this year. He didn't even give Brian Shaw a chance, and I think it has to be pretty serious for them to kind of be telling him he doesn't want to stay away from the team. And you bring him in here, and yeah, your second unit's going to be a little better, but then you also need to have those minutes where he's playing with John, and that might be a good lineup, that might not be the good lineup. When you bring Andre Miller, you're bringing Andre Miller's kind of way of playing, and Andre Miller doesn't really fit in for anyone, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to throw lobs too.
7.
What's that?
That too. Well, I agree with Anand. It'd be easier if he weren't like 37, like 38, however old he is. I mean, he's basically immortal. I mean, Andre Miller's been playing exactly the same for a decade, and I don't know how he's doing it. But still, you don't want to bet on that. And then also, too, I mean, his style of play, it's all about running up and down the court, throwing lobs to people like JaVale. Well, the Wizards don't really have anybody like that. I mean, they have up-tempo players like Ariza. They can run the break with them, but it's not like the type of big men that he's used to playing with. Maybe he'd adjust, maybe he wouldn't. I don't really know, but it seems like something that wouldn't be like just a clear-cut, this guy's going to just come in and be great for a year or two. And if you're going to actually spend money on somebody like that, bring in an aging point guard who has no real future with the team and might have character issues, they have to be able to reward you with something. They have to be able to give you really, really great play, and I don't even think you can guarantee that for Miller right now, at least with the Wizards.
Well, what about Luke Ridnour? Or what about, I'm trying to think, I mean, Udrih has been available. There are guys on the market. There's Steve Blake, who I'm sure the Lakers would be happy to give away. There's a rumor today that J.J. Barea is on the market. He's got a long-term contract. I don't really want him. And look, it is true that second unit could use another scorer, another guy who can kind of make plays, can create offense. I mean, do we all agree on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, what about even Gary Neal? I mean, I'm not crazy about Gary Neal or anything, but Milwaukee clearly doesn't, he's not getting along there too well. And Gary Neal can shoot the ball a little bit. Like, that would be one affordable. I'm just trying to think of guys that are a little less, the guys that haven't been mentioned yet.
I kind of like the idea of getting. I mean, it depends what they trade, but
right, and I know that they got a lot of front court depth in Milwaukee, so you can't send some like Seraphin there to go compete with playing time against Sanders and Henson and Ilyasova. But
what if you like gave them Maynard, offered to pay his salary, so you attach like $2 million cash, throw in like a future second round pick. I mean, he wants to be traded.
Right. Yeah.
Like, if you can do that, like. I think that's a useful move.
Yeah, I mean, like, because Neal could space the floor, and he's played under Pop, so he's had some experience, in that kind of in a playoff environment that they're kind of trying to push for these days. And I know he hasn't fit in that well in Milwaukee, and he had those problems with Larry. I know he had that fight with Sanders, but he can really shoot, and that's when the Wizards' offense is so predicated on shooting. I think there's a lot of value in getting guys like that who can hit shots and stuff, and that can avoid lulls where you're just not having anybody hit shots.
Is there anybody
He's a
else?
local guy too.
Local-ish. Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's local. I don't know.
That counts. If Carmelo Anthony counts, then Gary Neal counts.
I mean, if like Grant Hill and like David Robinson count, then I guess Gary Neal counts.
Tim Duncan from the U.S. Virgin Islands counts. Gary Neal counts.
If Thomas Satoransky counts.
I've actually been to St. Croix, and when you go there, the first thing you do when you leave the airport is there's a massive billboard that just says, "Welcome to St. Croix, the home of Tim Duncan." and that's it.
You know, it's funny, when you get off the airport in Norfolk, Virginia, it says, "Welcome to Norfolk, home of Pat Robertson," which is kind of the same thing. That's the true story.
So when you go to Hampton, does it say like this is the home of Allen Iverson?
It's got to
Probably.
say it somewhere.
You'd hope so.
757 represent, guys. Come on.
So if there was like a sign that said Washington D.C., this is the home of person X, who do you think should go on that billboard?
George Washington, probably.
George Washington.
Wait, is he? He's not. Is he?
It's President's Day.
No.
It's topical.
No, you can't name a president. They're not all from D.C. It'd be somebody born here.
Are you serious? No, I thought they were all from D.C. They live here. Why would they live here if they're not from here?
Where's Obama from? Obama's from Chicago.
Obama is from Chicago.
He's not from D.C. No answers? No?
I don't. Who's so who? Let's see if any of the commenters in the thread have said who should be on our DC billboard. Hold on a sec.
Let's see.
Anybody?
I'm gonna
Come on,
ask
guys.
this, who should we put on our DC billboard? Actually, let's get back to the topic at hand. Looking for more guys. This is an interesting guy named Jimmer Fredette was named in the thread.
Oh my God.
Similar idea.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Stop it.
What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, hi, that's my roommate.
Hey. Let's see who else we have in this thread.
There's not a ghost. Oh, I see the
that
flag.
was real. Yeah.
I see the flag. Very visible.
And so the flag turned into a human being. It's amazing. You got a Jimmer Fredette reference? It's kind of like a Gary Neal, right? Like similar idea, and probably doesn't have much of a future in Sacramento.
I feel like it would drive Randy crazy on defense, though.
I
Yeah,
feel like you didn't need in
I feel like
Sacramento.
Randy, yeah.
that's a good point. But you can only play Jimmer like when he's on. Like you could just sit him down when he's not playing well.
I mean, I think that's a fine idea, obviously, if Sacramento's open to moving him, but I assume they are, because, they have Isaiah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean
You can
If we're gonna have a dude
manage
who
his
just plays
matchups
well,
too.
oh, go ahead.
Well, the Kings get tied to point guards a lot lately, right? They got tied to Ridnour too or something.
Yeah, they want
So
on
the Kings want they want point guard help too.
Well,
So,
they can have Eric Maynard, pass first point guard. That is what they're looking
It's
for.
like literally the only good thing you can say about Maynard right now is that he's passed first.
No, false. Maynard has consistently been winning those in-arena busters that they pit him against Jan Vesely, like Pop a Shot and Whack-A-Mole and stuff. They're like showing all this like canned footage of them from the beginning of the season. It's like, who's gonna win, Eric Maynard or Jan Vesely? And it's Maynard's sweeping the board, man. He's really good.
He's probably spent a lot of time at Dave and Buster's lately, though.
Well,
There's one in Wheaton.
when you shoot into like a pop-up shot, you're basically shooting a floater, aren't you? You're basically like down like this.
It's like there's a Papa Shot and there's like the football Papa Shot version. You know, the one was like.
Oh yeah.
I think they played that one, and I'm pretty sure Maynard schooled Vesely on that. Which is funny because Vesely was basically he could just like stand and shove them through the hole because of his long arms and his height, and Maynard still totally owned him.
Well, this is great for our point guard. To answer some answers on the DC question, Kevin Durant.
Oh yeah.
I can live with that.
Yeah. Kevin
Durant.
Never heard of him.
Well, they certainly should do that in 2016.
Oh. Yeah, come home, Kevin.
Yeah. Are there going to be some great billboards in 2016?
Marion Barry probably.
I hope
on a billboard.
I can't wait for the billboards.
I don't want them to have it. I think that the team's just going to like kind of embarrass itself if they really talk that much about Durant because I don't see him leaving Oklahoma City. Like he's playing well there. They have a young team. It's not like Dwight Howard in Orlando where you just see like everything crumbling around him or something. Like, it'd be cool if we got him. Believe me, don't get me wrong. But I don't see that ever happening. Or if it does, it's going to be when he's in his 30s.
You never know with that second contract.
Maybe he really misses Maynard and wants to come back to DC.
Oh, now I see where we signed Maynard. There we are. There we are.
Planting the seed.
I described Maynard from our thread. I described Maynard as more airball floater first and pass first.
Yes.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sam Jackson was. Wait. Samuel Jackson was born in D.C.? That's
I have
awesome.
to check that. I didn't know that.
Pretty cool.
That is in the comments.
I don't know a lot of things.
He's our fact checker who's checking the facts.
All right, Snopes that stuff right there.
Let's check. I'll check it.
But he lives in Dayton, Ohio. Represent.
Yeah, born in D.C., Samuel Jackson.
What?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's true. Interesting.
Nick
Dave
Fury.
Chappelle? Okay. So this is good. This got brought up earlier in the thread, and it just got brought up again. Like, if the Wizards want an upgrade on the bench, like, why does it have to be point guard? Like, don't they need? I mean, Trevor Booker's played well this year. Oh no! We lost Satchel.
Satchel!
No. Oh no. Well, I mean, the point guard discussion's over. He can leave, obviously. But no. Obviously they're pretty set on the wing if they can't find any minutes for Otto Porter. Hey,
He's back.
But I only see there we are. There's the actual face.
Satchel, we were worried the ghost got you.
I know, there's just ghosts and my crappy computer and my stupidity.
That's a really artsy picture of you when we on your profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I look cool? I don't
It's
even
your
know what
avatar.
the picture is. So.
Your Google avatar.
Yeah, we might have to
that's old.
Yeah.
We might have to Photoshop that thing.
Yeah.
Go
you
for
got a Photoshop for G with popping out of his chest like his open shirt. Someone do it. Someone get on the Photoshop more.
All right, but seriously, getting back into the point at hand, someone mentioned like they could use another big guy, they could use another scorer. Like, why are we limiting ourselves to backup point guard? Is that just because that's the only thing that can be acquired for basically nothing that the Wizards have to offer?
It's very Wizards like to try to upgrade everything like one tiny piece at a time. Like this entire rebuild was done like very incrementally, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But okay, our major problem right now is backup point guard because our starters are logging too many minutes, and Garrett Temple can't be the only one coming off the bench. But then, I mean, we could really upgrade every single position. We could upgrade starters. We could upgrade a couple starters. We could upgrade a lot of the bench. Like there's a lot of holes in this roster, but it depends on what the goal is. Like I think it's been previously stated that I don't think we're going to do anything in the trade deadline because I think they're going to try to ride this roster out to see where the deficiencies are at the end of the season and then make some moves. But I think you could upgrade the bench bids. You could upgrade for offense and defense. You could upgrade. I like Webster and Ariza for different reasons, but at some point the small forward position probably needs to have a little bit of an upgrade. Right now we're working with Nene and Gortat are really good, but they're not fantastic. And Nene is certainly injury prone, as has been experienced in the past. He's been, knock on wood, been pretty good this season, but they had some issues with defense at the beginning of the season in the front court, and continued, especially in that Rockets game this last week. And I think, any little bit of help would benefit this team. You don't have to necessarily concentrate in the front court position, but I think maybe in the back court. But I think maybe that's the one that's going to throw off the mojo the least. I don't know.
Really, they need big men, like a third big man who can play. Like, ideally, I think they would be playing like maybe 27, 28 minutes a night, and just keeping him fresh and like in one piece for the playoffs. They could really, really use I don't know why I keep on thinking of him, but Jason Thompson, like somebody who can just come in and play like 25 minutes and play center, however, maybe hit a jumper, maybe rebound, just like give them quality minutes. And should have been that guy. Vesely should have been that guy, but unfortunately they just don't draft well. So you have to take these kind of middling players. I don't know about really like the whole backup point guard thing. To kind of get back to that, I think what they need is playmaking. You can get that from a point guard, or you could even just try and get like a wing, or even a big man who can pass really well, or play Nene with the bench and have some other big man come in and start. I think that would make a lot more sense, and it would be
Oh no.
Sorry about that.
Wait, are we live now?
Were we not live? We're
Apparently
live.
our broadcast went
live?
down.
We're still live. I'm live.
Oh.
It says live in the corner.
There's live in
Yeah,
the corner.
apparently the broadcast went down when you like.
Sorry, guys.
But I don't know if it's back live. I can't
We
tell.
are live. It says live.
No, I know, but hold on. I'm waiting for a response. Can people hear us? People in the comments thread, if you can hear us, say yes.
Hello.
It says live in the corner, so hopefully you can hear us.
Hold on.
Still got a not yet.
What does the thread say?
Still says not
it
yet.
looks okay. I just started watching it on the thread, and it looked okay now.
So tell them to refresh.
Yeah, I think that's all they have to do.
Yeah, we're up now. Oh, thank God. Sorry about that.
All right.
I clicked the wrong tab to close it, and then I just kicked everyone out.
We're a very professional outfit right here. We're very embarrassed.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it was because I was trying to Photoshop Satchel's picture.
Were you successful?
No, I was just trying to. I grabbed the picture, and then I
took over your computer.
Closed the window. It's clearly it has to be done by someone who's not me.
It's a Trojan virus, that picture.
Yeah.
It's coming for your computer.
Yeah. All right, we can get into questions from commenters soon, but I think the bottom line is kind of what Satchel was saying. They're looking to get someone for nothing. You know, if you can get like Steve Blake for Jan Vesely and like future second round pick and cash, like okay. I mean, and do it without going over the luxury tax. Like, I mean, I like Garrett Temple too, but like, yeah, I'll do that. What I don't want them to do is add salary, trade anything of value, or go over the luxury tax. Like, it's not the end of the world if they don't make a trade.
That's true.
To me, I think we can all agree they're not trading Ariza at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You can't trade Ariza and you have to replicate his value in return. This team's going to get a lot worse if you don't do that.
You'd have to get a huge piece back. You'd have to get like a building block. I think that's like the way. I think that's the way they see it. Is we'd have to get something that is a long-term piece. Because I mean, it's hard to tell how they view Ariza at this point, whether he's a short-term piece or a long-term piece. But you know, you very rarely get the vibe from them that they're anything but thrilled with what he's done this season. And so, yeah, I don't.
It gets complicated this summer, though. I mean, this is.
Yeah.
It's great right now, but it gets really complicated. That's why I still would think about trying to move Webster. And then re-signing Ariza. I don't know how feasible that is. Maybe that's more expensive.
I don't know. I think you can't. I don't think you can trade Webster. I mean, as much as Ariza's doing well this year, I don't think he'll be coming back next year. Just because I think it's time. Not that I don't want him to stay, but like I think he'll probably move on. I don't think he'll get the money that he wants from here. And I think that Webster. I don't know if Webster can be traded, and this team can benefit from it until like Webster's a really big glue guy on the team. Like everyone really. And I think the team, like psychology and morale, will drastically change if they get rid of Webster. The team has to be able to kind of support itself without Webster before they get rid of him.
What's in the background?
Just ignore them. Like this is a really important part of the movie.
Hello?
Is that me?
I think it's you.
Dana?
What?
Doing something.
We're almost done. We're sorry.
It's like a work thing, isn't it? Can you hear everything? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
She's very apologetic.
We're almost done.
My husband's very apologetic.
Is it Wiznut's intern, Dana? Because if so, then she should be on the podcast.
Okay, here it is. Hold on.
It's not.
No.
No, it's not.
Dana,
It's not.
that was great.
Okay,
Yeah,
where were we?
I
Do
think
you
I'm
live in the
ready to go.
Wiznut side? Do you live in Wheaton
Do I live in Wheaton? No, I live in Tenley
with the
Town.
Wiznuts? At the
Yeah.
mothering pot?
Obviously. All right, we should probably get on to question time.
Sorry.
Well,
Question
first, I think we're all right. Like, I would think about moving Webster. I would look at it. I don't think you're going to get much out of it. The problem is that if you let Ariza walk and then you keep Gortat, you then have to replace Ariza's salary with someone who can can help the team, and then you're kind of back at square zero.
Yeah.
But if you keep Ariza, and you're also back at square zero, so.
I just wonder if you're trying to trade
Porter would
Martell,
be that
can you
guy.
do that with, like, can you trade Martell and shed the money quickly?
I don't know.
Like, that's the thing I wonder about, is if you're going to trade Martell, I wonder if you're just going to end up getting stuck with another, similar contract, and then at that point, when you consider the locker room stuff and the fact that he is a, reasonably solid fit, at a certain point you say, all right, we'll just keep paying this guy.
Right.
That's why I keep going back to that Detroit deal I keep throwing out.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that. I would do that in a second, but yeah.
I mean, if you trade Webster for Monroe or whatever what is part of the deal you were talking about, then you upgrade Gortat.
Well, he was.
I'm not talking about Monroe. I'm talking about like the Stuckey proposal I keep throwing out.
Oh, the Stuckey proposal.
Yeah, Stuckey and Bynum, which I thought that deal. I don't think they would do it. That's kind of the problem, I think, because I think Detroit is hesitant. I don't know. It might be like Joe Dumars' last big stand, kind of. Because I think that's a pretty broken front office right now. I think they're kind of scrambling to figure out, what's the future direction after a pretty weird offseason, and then they just fired their coach.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might be a team that's vulnerable then, you might say, to like making a move that would be less than prudent, but.
I mean, it seems like they'd be vulnerable to shedding salary,
right,
and acquiring assets, and going full tank.
I mean,
not adding salary.
It's weird, maybe this might be.
Go ahead.
This might be an insane idea, but I mean, is there any even remotely realistic chance that like they could trade the Pistons could use Ariza, and Josh Smith is really, really he's in possibly the worst possible situation for him. Is there any even feasible chance that the Wizards could bring him in, maybe like trade like Ariza and like other stuff for him? I know it wouldn't just be a straight up one-for-one trade, but that could be the type of thing that might actually really shake things up in a good way, possibly.
My issue with that is, not that I don't like Josh Smith, but I cannot imagine a worse coach-player interaction than Randy Whitman and Josh Smith.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think you could do it. I think Randy would yell at him all the time. Josh would shut down and then just take long twos and ill-advised threes.
He would do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
He would do what he's doing now.
Well, I mean, it's the same situation anyway. You still have Nene. He's still playing some 3, some 4. Nothing would change, so I don't know if that's something I would do. Yeah, maybe if you trade Nene for him, but I don't know why. That's the only possible. I don't think that would help the team either. All right, let's get on to questions. Let's see. Let's start up. I'm going to start at the top of the thread real quick. Lots of good ones. Do you think the Wizards' offense should be better? This is one of my favorite topics. I realize they aren't very deep, but a team with Wall, Beal, Nene, and Gortat being a bottom 10 offense is just baffling to me. Even if the starting lineup is on the court, they'd only rank around 16th in the offensive rating. Is this really how good the offense is, or is the coaching staff fully utilizing its talent? What do you guys think? I mean, they're obviously not good offensively, but do we think that there's a major potential for them to be much better than they are?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
But I think it's hard to tell whether it comes from the coaches or the players. If I can't tell if it's the players not doing things that they should be doing, that the coaches are asking them to do, or if the coaches are just kind of like, this is just their offense. And
yeah, I think it's I think it's, you don't know, it's the same way, like, you can't really place that much blame on either the coaches or the players, but it seems like the plays and the players aren't completely in sync. Like, if 50% of Beal's shots come from mid-range and Beal shoots 35% from mid-range, he doesn't.
Can that be the play? Right.
Yeah, if you're going to have someone who's an elite mid-range shooter, yes, please let them take 50% of their shots from mid-range. But, maybe that's not where the offense should be going. Maybe, but at the same time, maybe that's only option A in an offensive scheme, and they're really thinking about options B, C, or D. And B, C, or D are higher quality shots, potentially. I don't know. I really can't tell in these sets. But, I mean, if you think about, when Gortat thrived the most under Stan Van Gundy, it was a pretty simple spread-the-floor offense where you had, a million shooters and you had him dominating the paint. And he was great on the boards, and he was great offensively, and you had people raining threes from everywhere. Although I guess they had a lot of steroids in the locker room at the time too, so maybe that.
Yeah.
That's something to do with it.
Thomas, what do you think? If you swapped Randy Woodman's offense for Mike Budenholzer's or a Spurs system, or I don't know, and you assume that they could reasonably execute it about the same way, how much would this offense be significantly better with the same players?
I don't know. I mean, it could, but I think some of the thing that really kills the offense is two things, at least to me. One, the bench has no playmaking. You have a bunch of guys who are good catch and shoot players, who are decent pick and roll players or cutters, but you don't have anybody to set them up and draw the defense in, or even just get people scrambling a little bit. So that really hurts them, and that's something too where eventually, as Beal becomes a better playmaker, maybe Porter becomes like that, maybe more with the bench, it might go away. I think also too, the other thing that really hurts him is Beal taking all those long twos. But I actually, in the short term, that's really they're inefficient. But I think that Beal's stroke is good enough that he won't always be shooting 35% from mid-range. I think eventually he'll be able to. Yeah, I mean, it won't necessarily be a great shot, but there are worse shots that you can take. Eventually, I think a Beal mid-range shot is going to be a far better thing for the team than Wall taking a long two off the dribble or a floater or anything like that. And I think Beal will be able to hit those shots as he gets more repetitions, as he gets more confidence in his game, as he gets more comfortable. And he's only going to get better at it. So you can almost live with that. So I don't know. I think a better coach or a better scheme, it could improve it some, but you don't really know until you see it. It could also blow up in their face. I mean, the Spurs have done a lot of passing and ball movement and shooting. The Wizards are set up. I think they could actually make that work. But I don't know. It might blow up in their face if they try and do it with the bench and you have Seraphin trying to pass. Somebody like Temple trying to handle the ball more. Although then again, Popovich is smart enough that those guys would be better players or not playing if he was coach. So who knows? It could be a chicken or the egg thing.
It's an interesting question. As long as you have, I think, those two bigs playing together, John's still developing jumper, and Ariza, who's shooting very well, but I don't think isn't totally respected. Demons we cannot let Ariza beat us. As long as you have those pieces, I think it's going to be tough to build an above-average offense. But I do think they could be a little better. Some of those plays where they have Beal running pick and roll to the left are not putting him in the best position to succeed in the short term, I would say. But I think I made that point a few times on here. So, Al Harrington, a couple questions about Al Harrington. He's supposed to come back from injury soon after the break. He would potentially join the rotation. We really haven't seen much of him because of his injury. Do we think that he's going to make any sort of difference to the team when he returns to the court?
I don't know. If he's healthy, sure. I mean, what? Like, I think I looked at our like 30 preseason predictions or whatever that we did, and Thomas and I both predicted that Al Harrington was going to be really, really like awesome to this addition to the team, and you just can't see anything because he's been injured, and I can't imagine like he's going to come back to the point of being healthy where he's going to be able to make such a great contribution. Just because like he's lost all this conditioning time and lost all his play time and lost all I'm sure he's smart enough to like learn the system and shoot like he's a stretch four. A stretch four will be great in the system, and like Wall would know where to find him and be able to hit shots. But is he going to be able to make any sort of? Is he going to be able to play more than 10 minutes a night? Even like I don't know. Like I don't know how many games he'd play to be able to have an impact. He probably wouldn't make the playoff rotation, so that's not like it really matters there. I don't know. It's kind of a shame.
Yeah, like you wouldn't play him ahead of Booker, would you? Anyone?
I would.
You would.
I think it's a better. Yeah. I mean, you got to see how he is. I mean, his conditioning is probably shot, and I don't know what type of shape he's in. I know that at the beginning of the year, he went out of his way to mention that he lost like 20 or 30 pounds versus where he'd been before. I mean, this guy was a pro athlete, so he's probably like at the lightest he's been, and still would be, I think. So that kind of gives you some cause for optimism. The thing about Booker is that I love him. He plays so hard. He's fun to watch. Those dunks when he just like yells and stuff, it's great. But he's really a really, really, really bad defensive player. And it's mostly just because he's not that big and he doesn't really move his feet that well. Harrington's not a shot blocker or anything, but at the same time, he's always been a pretty good defensive player. He would at least be in the right place, and I think that would help the team and kind of shore up the bench a little bit. And the shooting would be a nice wrinkle to add to the offense. Nobody on the bench can really shoot, at least as far as the big men. And even in the among the starters, like Gortat and Nene, like they're kind of mid-range shooters, but they're not really. And if they're taking jump shots, the other team is usually pretty happy about that. If Harrington's taking three-pointers, that can actually be a difference maker. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little pessimistic about whether he can actually help much the rest of the year. You're right though. If he's healthy, he provides a dimension that the team doesn't have. But I'm just not sure he can. Like I don't want to take minutes from Booker the way he's playing, and I don't know if I want to take minutes from Seraphin the way he's playing. So I don't know where he plays.
Yeah, Seraphin's been playing well lately, and then that's hard. And I feel like with Booker, you can talk about the rebounding, but I think that the rebounding is so important because I personally thought that Wall and Beal were going to be able to rebound a little more this year. I thought that, because Beal feels like a guy who, with his athleticism and his size, he should be able to get more than 4 rebounds per 36 minutes. And
he did in college.
He did, exactly. His rebounding in college, he averaged like 6 a game or something. And so, I don't know if he's trying.
That might be scheme, though. They might be telling him to leak out a little more.
Exactly. I wonder if he's trying to leak out in transition to get with John so he can set up those 3-pointers and stuff. But I feel like if you were going to turn to a system where you were using Harrington instead of Booker, you might need to kind of tailor your offensive rebounding schemes to make up for the fact that you don't have someone like Booker to kind of cover up when Beal's leaking out. And so that's kind of my first thought when I think about that in terms of – because you're probably going to lose something. Booker's not good defensively, but there's no way Harrington is going to be after all that time off and stuff, I have a hard time believing Harrington's going to be an effective defender.
Yeah, and the other thing is that if he's playing, no matter how he feels, he's going to be chucking it up.
Right.
So if he's not there and he's just chucking shots up, he's not helping. Next, we're going to do 2 more. I've seen this one a couple times. So, Otto Porter, barely playing right now. What are our expectations for the rest of the year? Like, how much blame do we give him for what's happened so far? And do we think he should play a little bit?
I don't really give him any blame. Like, from what I've heard, he's like they play him. It's hard to with a guy who's missed that much time, who missed training camp and everything, and this summer it's hard to get him like up to the rhythm of everybody else. And I'm sure he's healthy. I'm sure he can play, and I'm sure he's frustrated with not being able to give more of a contribution. But like, I think this year's kind of going to be a wash for him. I think next year he'll probably be pretty good, and he'll be pretty useful. But this year, I don't think we can probably expect much out of him because I think maybe he'll be if something happens to Ariza or Webster, maybe his feet will get thrown to the fire, and he'll have to contribute more. But for now, he's probably just. I don't think he'll be used more than sparingly, which is unfortunate because he could be, he could. I think next year he'll make a real contribution, and I think, I think everybody thinks that he was drafted as kind of as Ariza insurance because people assumed that Ariza wouldn't be. I think you wrote about this, Mike. Like people didn't really assume that Ariza was going to have such an awesome year this year and be so vital to the team, and Otto Porter was going to be able to fit in. And Ariza became so reliable that now you can't really afford to get rid of him. And Porter's definitely not good enough to fill in the gap right now.
Does anyone think he should play a little bit? Like
I do.
Not as if he doesn't show anything more in practice. He just continues showing what he's been showing. But does anyone think that given that he should play more?
I mean, if they're in a really lopsided game, that doesn't happen very often. Where they're
so you wouldn't hand him. You wouldn't hand him the minutes that they were handing him for a little while, like those second quarter minutes.
It's hard because the direction of the team is so clear, and I think they're kind of trying to buy into that. I feel like I think it's hard to say that we're trying to go all out, but we're also going to give Otto 5 minutes in the second quarter when he's struggling. If he can show something more, but if he's still going to shoot 40% from the field, not make shots and basically just be really quiet. It's hard to say that he deserves a regular rotation spot.
What are they supposed to? What is he supposed to do too? Like, is he going to replicate everything? Is he going to be more of an Ariza, or is he going to be more of a Webster, or does he have a completely different role? Like he was able to show flashes of a couple different kinds of behavior in college, but what does this team need from him? And I think before he can actually give real minutes on the floor, the team needs to figure out what he can offer and how to play around that. But if they have no idea what he can do, then I don't think he's going to be useful at all, and we don't really have time for him to turn the court into a laboratory,
Well, I'm going to say that I think they should play him. For two reasons. One, I think Ariza's playing 36 minutes a night. Webster's playing 29, and his health is never that great. Brad is obviously still dealing with the minutes restriction that I think has worked out pretty well for him. I think since he's come back, he's had some bad games, but I think that's the optimal amount of time you want to play him. I think they need to know what they have in him. I mean, and they need to know without starting and stopping. I would tell him you have the Ariza role when you're in the game. That seems pretty simple what he does. Plays defense and he stands in the corner and shoots. And you give it a month and you give him those second quarter minutes and you stay committed to it. And I think you figure out what you have and you save Ariza's legs a little bit for the playoffs because I don't think there's really any way they don't make the playoffs. I mean, they're good, I guess, but pretty good chance they'll make it whether they play Otto 5 minutes and 10 minutes a night or not. I would stay committed to it. I think you got to know what you have. You have to know how important it is for you to keep Ariza, how important it is to kind of make your off-season decisions. You have to see a little bit more. Right now, if you're not going to play him, then I think you should send him down to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Even if you don't have your own affiliate. I mean, he just doesn't play. I have no idea what to think about him right now. I just have no idea. And I think in general, you look at how tight the rotation is. I would play Rice, too, if you can. I think you got to know what you have in these guys, and you got to kind of look at the long view and kind of keep your guys fresh for when it matters. And I know that, to some degree, they may not be in the right position for that, but I don't think they're going to drop too many games because they're playing Otto for 10 minutes a night. That's just me. I would play it, and we'll see.
No, I'm in complete agreement with you, with both of them, actually. I'm glad you brought up Rice, too. I almost forgot he even was on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly kind of.
I think Randy thought
too. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean you're exactly right. It's not going to kill him. Porter can play competent defense and hit a 3-pointer. and you really can't have enough lanky guys who can shoot and like guard on the perimeter too. I mean, most of the best teams have a bunch of guys like that. The Wizards could use a third one. And there's no reason too that they couldn't like experiment with lineups a little bit. Maybe play Ariza a little bit more at shooting guard to give Beal fewer minutes. It's not really his ideal position, but he can guard it and he can hit a three. So I mean, it's okay. And Rice Jr. might be the type of playmaker, or Porter. They could be the type of playmakers the team kind of needs. And they might not even really need a backup point guard because maybe those guys are good enough, or will eventually be good enough, that they can do all the stuff that like a Roddy Beaubois or Ridnour or something. And especially, too, until they have like a solid month or so to really establish a rhythm, you're not going to know what you have with them because they're going to just be weird every time they shoot. They're going to go in the games and like overthink stuff and all. I don't know. Rhythm's just really important for these guys. Like, hardly any rookies start out playing as well as they're going to play 6 months down the line or something. It's good for the team, and it's good for short-term and long-term if these guys play. The only way it kind of hurts them is for like the first, 5 or 10 games they play in. But after that, it helps the team a lot.
Now, this discussion might just be academic because what's probably going to happen is that there might be a week or 2 weeks that Martell or Trevor or Brad is hurt, and they're just going to be minutes there, and that's your chance. That's usually how it works in the league. Yeah. So, last question. I've seen this variation a couple places. Let's make some second-half predictions. There are 30 games left. What is the team's record in those 30 games? What seed do they get? And who would you like to see in the first round, assuming that you avoid Miami and Indiana? Which of the other teams in that kind of flotsam, I use that word a lot, is kind of the ideal matchup, you think, for the Wizards?
I think they finish the rest of the season, 16 and 14, which makes them finish the entire year 500, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And I think that would be kind of poetic and perfect for this team. And I think I don't know who's gonna. I think they probably finished like 4th or 5th seed. I kind of don't want to see Atlanta, who I think will also be probably 4th or 5th seed. I'd kind of rather see. Honestly, I think it would be kind of fun for them to play the Nets because I feel like they mash up against the Nets. Even though the Nets I don't think of as a great team, all the Wizards-Nets games have been kind of fun. So I think it would just be kind of a fun series. Like the Nets-Bulls series has been, like, this season and the playoff series last year was really brutal and horrible to watch. But I think for some reason Nets-Wizards is, like, the only way the Nets can be fun to watch. And the Wizards just kind of play kind of energetic and fun against them, and it's fun to see. Wall play well against Aaron Williams, and fun to see Beal just play really well on offense against them. And without having Brook Lopez, I think it'll probably be a little bit. Even though they've been kind of playing better without him, I think it would be better for our front court.
Okay.
Plus, too, I mean, can you imagine the reaction when Blash did like a flagrant foul on somebody at the Verizon Center?
Oh my God! That was amazing.
The crowd is gonna be so mean to him.
Oh my God.
So mean. Satchel, what do you think? What's your record prediction? Who do you want to see in the first round of the playoffs?
I would say probably, around there 16, 14, 17, 13. If you look at the schedule, the first few games aren't too tough. I mean, they got a tough game against Toronto, but, they got some winnable games going in, on the early part of the first 30. And then, in the first round, I don't want to face the Bulls just because Tom Thibodeau. I don't think you want to face a Tom Thibodeau coach team in the first round of a postseason just because you see how his teams play. And I think even if you win the series, you'll be so exhausted by the end that you'll get destroyed in the next round, pretty much. But, so, yeah. So, like, that's kind of how I feel. Is like Chicago is a team you really don't want to face if you're not going to face one of the top two. But then going beyond that, Brooklyn would be a fine matchup. I think Atlanta, now that they've lost Horford, is more vulnerable than some people let on. And, Millsap is stacked up and stuff, but it's hard because you look at the rosters and you could say the Wizards could, they're probably the third best team if you just look up and down in terms of, peak performance, and you said which team is going to play the best. So there isn't a matchup that I'm particularly, excited for or weary about. I mean, I'd love it if they got, if we got a Washington-Cleveland matchup somehow.
Yeah.
Just because
that would be a lot of fun.
If Cleveland could slip into that, 6th seed somehow, that would. And we, if we got the 3 and they got the 6 or something, that would be weird.
That's fun for me.
They have won 5 in a row.
Yeah, I know Cleveland's coming.
But they also already.
Yeah.
They also already have 33 losses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt Moore said it best on the power rankings on CBS earlier today. They should fire their GM more often and see what happens.
Okay, Thomas, what is your record prediction, and who do you want to see, and who don't you want to see in the first round of the playoffs?
Okay. As far as the record, I think they're going to be I think they'll finish with 43 wins or 42 wins. Just because I think that'd be kind of poetic. Finish one game over 500, and they'll win that one game to put them over in the last game of the season. I think they'll do well over the next month and a half or so. Most of the teams they're going to be playing are going to be tanking anyways, or have their playoff seed locked up. Like, I think they play Miami at least once in April. I mean, the Heat aren't going to, maybe even another time in March, too, towards the end of the month. Like, the Heat aren't going to be playing, hell, LeBron's season's probably already over. Like, they don't need to worry about, like, playoff positioning or anything, so those teams aren't going to care. They play the Celtics at least once or twice over the next month or two. That's a team that's just going to be worried about their draft pick and all. So they'll probably do well. In fact, let me amend that. They're not going to win 42. I'll even go so far as to say I think they'll win like 45 games because of that.
Wow.
Just because, I mean, nobody's going to be caring. Yeah.
Wait, so
that's a 20 and 10
20 and 10 at
That's
the
a 20 and 10 finish.
You know what?
I guess.
Crazier things have happened, and if you look at the schedule, I wrote an article like a month ago, about this. Like, the end of the pretty good for the Wizards, I think, assuming everybody's healthy and all that. As far as matchups and all, Toronto actually scares me a lot. I think Lowry.
Yeah,
really,
Toronto's
really good.
the other one.
Ross and DeRozan can shoot over Beal if he's matching up against them. Valanciunas is pretty good. Amir Johnson's pretty good. Toronto, I mean, they're not going to make the conference finals or anything, but they're a pretty good team. I think they're actually better than Washington.
I agree.
Other than that, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I know, I agree with you. Toronto and Phoenix are like my adopted teams this year.
Toronto and who?
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Why don't you like Phoenix? Why don't you like Phoenix?
Phoenix is so much fun to watch.
Seth moves to DC, now you take his team as payback? Is that what happens?
Look, I'm just saying that I think those teams are fun. I like watching those teams. I like watching Toronto defend. I love watching Phoenix push the ball.
Hornacek I love what he's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy team.
Casey, too.
So you don't want to see Toronto, Thomas. Who do you want to see?
Pretty much anybody else. Obviously not the Pacers.
Yeah.
Even the Heat. The Wizards won't beat them. Believe me. They obviously. I probably don't have to tell you all that. And I wouldn't. They might not even win a single game, but at least that would kind of raise the team's profile. And I think, maybe Wall plays him drops like 45 points in a game or something, and that makes the team a little bit more well known, and they get on TNT more often next year. I think that would be. Especially, too, I don't know if those guys travel or anything. It'd be really cool to see Charles Barkley in person. That's why I really want that to happen. The other teams, Brooklyn actually does kind of put a scare into me, just because they can play Kevin Garnett like 35 minutes then. Same for Williams and all them. And there are guys on that team who have an axe to grind with the Wizards, like Latch. Livingston played pretty well in Cleveland, really well in Brooklyn, and bad in Washington. I mean, I doubt he cares about the team, but at least he'd have a reason to, want to get, some kind of revenge or whatever. Yeah, Brooklyn kind of scares me. They're only going to get better as they play together more, assuming they're healthy and all that.
And get older, because they are old.
Well, that too.
They are old. It's a
Really
great
old.
observation. That's why we pay you the big bucks. I think they're going to go...
No Bucks.
No Bucks. Bucks in 6.
I set myself up for that one, didn't I? I think that they're going to go 18-12 to finish 43-39, which is... Thomas raises a good point that there are a lot of teams that... I actually think all the East teams are going to finish better than we think because they're all going to beat up on tanking teams. I can see Philadelphia winning 3 more games the rest of the year. That would not surprise me at all. And so every team that plays the 76ers just gets a free win. And I can see Boston winning 3 more games the rest of the year. The tanking thing is a good point.
Well, yeah, once the trades and the fake injuries and stuff start piling up, then
right.
Yeah, the next,
Once Miami starts resting 9 of its players before the playoffs, we'll get a couple moves in there.
Right, and once Philadelphia signs Mark Madsen, every team's win total is going to get a little inflated, I think, because of the crappiness of the East. So I'm going to say 18-12 finish, which would put them at 43-39. That would make them the 4 seed. They'll play. I don't want to see Toronto. They are so tough defensively. Lowry is the exact kind of guy that would give Wall fits. I know Wall had that big game early in the year when his jumper was falling. I don't trust that to happen over the course of a series. I just think they're going to own the paint. They're going to force the Wizards into long jumpers, and they're going to kind of beat them up for 6 games. And I just don't see them beating Toronto. I think Toronto is the 3rd best team in the conference, and I think the Wizards should be 3rd, but they're not. And they're not. Okay. They're just the parts just don't fit as well. I don't want to see Chicago for reasons Satchel said. I'd like to see Atlanta. I think they're kind of vulnerable with Teague's really falling off. Millsap doesn't scare you. That's not a team where you go into a playoff series as a coach and you say, "Oh God, how are we going to stop DeMar Carroll?" The one guy on that team you're really scared of is, in terms of a game plan, is Kyle Korver.
Korver, yes.
We're probably going to wind up seeing Charlotte. Let's be real.
You think Charlotte's going to pick it up?
Oh, that would be so boring.
I don't know.
Michael King-Gilchrist is pretty fun.
I'm not knocking Bobcats. Bobcats are fine, but Al Jefferson's playing well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if they get Atlanta, that's the series they can win.
Yeah.
I think they could beat Brooklyn. I don't know if they will. I don't think they can beat Toronto.
I think they can beat Toronto.
You do.
Yeah. I don't think it would be. I think that's a tough one. I think they could do it.
I think they would start the series down.
Okay.
It's maybe it'd be 60-40 in Toronto's odds, I think.
Well, wouldn't they get home court advantage if they're the higher seed?
I guess, but I don't know. Mike's right. Wall's jumper was option A in all the games we played. Wall's jumper can never be option A, and if that's how we're going to beat Toronto, then we're not going to beat Toronto. That's
fair enough.
Yeah. I just watching them defend. I just don't see it. Chicago, I'd rather face Chicago because at least Chicago, there's fewer options that you have to worry about, and the Wizards have played the Bulls pretty well this year.
Yeah.
Regular season, but you played the Bulls pretty well this year, so. It looks like we got 1 vote for Brooklyn. We got 1 vote for Atlanta. That's it. What do you guys think? Who do you want? I see another vote for Brooklyn. Anybody want to take me on and say that Toronto is beatable? Please let me know. I just don't see it. Unless Lowry is traded, which probably won't happen, but that's the only way.
Unless he's traded to New York and somehow Masai Ujiri figures out how to get 50 more picks from the Dolan family.
Yeah, I
think it's against the rules for them to trade any more picks. Because I think they've given up every other one until 2017 or something.
2018.
It's something like that. They literally can't trade any more picks.
They were going to trade. They're going to trade the 2018 pick for Lowry until Dolan was like, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing? And then he stopped.
No, he didn't say, what the hell am I doing? He's like, I don't want the internet to laugh at me because they keep laughing at me. That's literally what he did.
You're probably right, actually.
I wonder how much of their troubles are Isaiah's fault versus Dolan's at this point. Like Isaiah, and that's no joke.
Well,
like I think the most
It's
interesting
Dolan.
basketball team. Yeah, the Knicks
It's
all
Dolan.
throughout the 2000s. Fascinating. Yeah.
I think it's Dolan.
Maybe we
It's
should bring in
Dolan.
Isaiah as the new GM.
Wait, wasn't there
God.
that? Remember when Zach Randolph was on that team? God, amazing.
Oh, Steve Francis.
With Eddie Curry.
Oh, they had that like those weird 2 years. where they
franchise?
acquired every just like weird like contract in the league.
Yeah.
Penny. I think they had Jalen Rose too.
Well, the best
Like
Tracy McGrady. They brought in.
I have that jersey, by the way. I bought it the day it came out.
Wait, do you have it? Do you have it in
I
your
own
house?
2 basketball jerseys. One's a gold Gilbert, the other's a Tracy Mc. I have
Do
it
you have it in your
somewhere.
house? Can we see it?
Yeah, give me
Are you making it up?
40 seconds. I'm pretty sure I know what this is.
All right. And we'll end it on this note once we see this jersey.
I
'Cause
feel
I didn't believe that they actually made the McGrady Knicks jerseys.
I think the first jersey my parents ever bought me was an Eddie Curry jersey. When I was like
Chicago
10.
Bulls jersey.
Right, yeah, like because I was just a Bulls jersey, exactly. I still have it. I didn't even like rip the tag off because it was like one of those huge jerseys when you're a kid and your parents get you a jersey that's just like bigger than you could ever wear.
Yeah.
And
I
then
was
Eddie
super
Curry
fat,
was
so I
not.
fit in those jerseys. It was
Cool.
awesome.
I got a Chris Webber Warriors jersey purchased for me right before he got traded to the Bullets. All right, here we are.
Jay Williams. That was my other good jersey.
Oh, wow.
Mark Price.
Yeah, Jay
Cavs
Williams.
home jersey.
Oh, those early '90s Bulls. Too much fun.
All right, let's see.
I couldn't find I couldn't find it. I'll post a picture.
Oh,
I made like an
Oh.
insane collage.
Buzzkill.
Wow. We really thought you had the jersey.
It's coming. I promise.
Oh,
I have a really
man.
awesome
I
collage I
do
made in third
somewhere.
grade where I glue sticked my head onto Penny Hardaway's body.
Okay, now I want to
I
see.
have it somewhere in this apartment, but I'm not going to get it for this hangout. Next hangout, we'll get it.
All right,
I think
next time.
Seinfeld appears somewhere on the page also. I don't know why.
All right, next time. Thank you guys for taking the time. Thanks for all the questions. Hopefully we can do this again when our schedule allows. And let's look forward to, real quick, predictions for the deadline. Who gets acquired, or does anyone get acquired? Real quick.
By the Wizards? No.
Yes. Nothing. Satchel.
Quite.
Yeah, probably nothing.
Nothing.
I can see it.
Okay. Thomas.
Yeah, nothing. Nothing.
Nothing. All right.
Wizards
I say Gary Neal and Luke Ridnour for Jan Vesely.
Yes.
Okay, and
backcourt of our
Eric
dreams.
Nader and Glenn Rice Jr. and they pay part of Mainer's salary. That's my prediction. Gary Neal and Luke Ridnour for Jan Vesely, Glenn Rice Jr., future second-round pick, and salary paid, and I will hate it.
Do it, Ernie, so we can get upset.
Okay.
Perfect.
There is and I'm about to post the jersey in the game, so that's by the way. There's no trade that they can make that will actually make any of us happy. Like they're just, no matter what they do, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna make us.
I don't know about that. Like, what if they're able to
Yeah,
trade
I don't
like?
think that's true.
Yeah, I think if they're able to trade like literally nothing to get like Luke Ridnour, like if they trade Jan Vesely for Luke Ridnour, like that's fine. I got no problems with that.
Yeah, there are a lot of deals I'm like indifferent about,
that's true,
I
I
guess.
guess.
There's nothing exciting brewing,
Yeah.
probably.
I don't know. There's some deals I would like. I mean, if they can pull off like someone better than that, I think Steve Blake would be a good guy to get. I don't know if they could get it, but here's the photo.
He's playing
There's
in
the
Denver.
McGrady photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
With
right.
a signed Andre Blatch basketball from the ESPN zone.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for taking the time. Hopefully we'll do this again. And everybody enjoy the trade deadline.
Bye,
Thanks for
everyone.
listening.
Bye.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Peace.